So good morning. We are pleased to announce that we have just had a very successful meeting of the Group of Friends for Peace. We discussed the latest developments of the situation regarding the conflict in Ukraine and further efforts toward a political settlement. Last month marked the first anniversary of the group. Over the past year, our group has actively voiced the perspectives and concerns of the countries which predominantly represent the Global South, together with some countries that are from the region directly related to the conflict. Our group has consistently called for an early peaceful settlement of the conflict, remained dedicated to fostering dialogue and engagement, and actively engaged with relevant parties with a view to promoting common ground across the international community. All our efforts have been guided by our strong commitment to the purposes and principles of the UN Charter, including respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of any state and the peaceful settlement of disputes. We remain committed to promoting the spirit of solidarity and partnership between nations, as emphasized by the Bandung Principles inter alia. We support all efforts conducive to peace and welcome the recent engagements and talks held between the relevant parties, including the 3 rounds of direct talks between the Russian Federation and Ukraine that took place in Istanbul, Turkey, the meeting between the presidents of the Russian Federation and the United States, the meeting between the presidents of Ukraine and the United States, as well as the meeting between the President of the United States and some European leaders. We call on all parties and stakeholders to seize the current opportunity and maintain the momentum of engagement and talks. Deeply troubled by the prolonged hostilities and the immense negative impacts, this group was among the first to call for an immediate and complete ceasefire, a call we firmly reiterate today. We underscore the need to observe principles for de-escalation and the importance of non-expansion of the battlefield and non-intensification of fighting. We believe that avoiding actions that could further fuel the conflict, including the proliferation of weapons and other means of war into the parties of the conflict, would help pave the way toward a ceasefire and political settlement. And now I'll give the floor to the Ambassador of China. Please.
Yes. I will continue with the Stakeout press release. We reaffirm that only a negotiated political solution, including through inclusive diplomacy and the political means based on the UN Charter, can bring this conflict to an end. The shared goal must be to find a comprehensive, just, and a lasting solution, one that addresses mutual concerns of the parties to the conflict and leads to a peace agreement negotiated directly by and acceptable to them. Our group stands ready to support the next steps agreed by the relevant parties to the conflict, including their possible discussion on the roadmap. We believe that the UN has a role to play in fostering the diplomatic efforts and in the implementation of any peace agreement. We call for increased humanitarian assistance and the strengthening of the protection of civilians, in particular women, children, and the humanitarian personnel. All parties are obligated to strictly comply with international humanitarian law and to comply with international humanitarian law. Civilian infrastructure and objects, including nuclear facilities and other installations containing dangerous forces, must never be the target of military operations. We stress that all parties are bound by the principles of distinction, proportionality, and the precaution in the conduct of hostilities. We also emphasize the obligation of the humane treatment of prisoners and encourage and support initiatives to facilitate the safe exchange of prisoners of war as a confidence-building measure that alleviates human suffering. We stress the importance of considering humanitarian concerns as early confidence-building measures aimed at rebuilding trust and opening opportunities for dialogue between parties, thus recognizing the role that international humanitarian law and sustaining humanitarian commitments can play in ceasefire or peace negotiations. We are concerned about the negative impact of unilateral sanctions that adversely affect third parties, in particular, countries of the Global South. We stress the importance of safeguarding countries' legitimate right to conduct normal international trade and economic cooperation. We are concerned about the risks and the crises arising from this conflict, which has caused repercussions affecting many countries, including those in the Global South. Issues such as food and energy security, as well as humanitarian assistance, should be integral to the peace process, and the voices of the Global South should be heard and heeded in supporting peace in the region. Building on the work of the past year, we, as members of the Group of Friends for Peace, remain committed to maintaining close engagement with one another and with all relevant parties. We will continue to deepen our understanding of diverse perspectives, foster common ground, and play a constructive role in supporting all efforts towards peace. Together, we stand ready to contribute to a peaceful solution to the conflict and a better future for all. Thank you.
Ambassadors?
No, we are not allowed to answer any questions without consulting with all members, so sorry for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.